Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the 11th Annual Yes Fest. We come together today, just as we have in the past, in an effort not only to remember how Yes Fest began, but also to look forward to the future. It is a tradition in many cultures to say the names often of those who we have lost to help keep their memory alive. In 2013, we lost 3 Boardman graduates, Frank DeVanzo, Aaron Trell, and Danny Watkins. This tragedy brought us together as a family, and Yes Fest was born. At this time, I would like to have a moment of silence for Frank, Aaron, and Danny. The original mission of the first Yes Fest was for our students to say no to drugs by saying yes to something positive. You see, every single one of us has found ourselves at one time or another where we are feeling as though things are not going the way we want them to go. We are here today to tell you that you are not alone. We are here today to continue the conversation of how we can help ourselves and each other. With all of that being said, here's Mr. Sheehan.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce our 2024 Yes Fest speaker, Corey Lindsley. Corey is a 2009 Boardman High School graduate who is here this weekend celebrating his induction into the Boardman High School Athletics Hall of Fame. Corey was a state champion in discus and state runner-up in shot put and a 4-star football recruit. He committed to play football for The Ohio State University and entered the NFL as a 5th-round pick by the Green Bay Packers. Corey ascended into prominence in Green Bay, filling in for J.C. Tretter in his first few seasons before officially replacing him in 2017. He started every game for the Packers from 2017 to 2019 and earned a first-team All-Pro selection in 2020. In 2021, Corey signed to play for the Los Angeles Chargers and at the time was regarded as the best center in the NFL. He was a 3-year team captain for LA, was the Chargers' 2021 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominee, something he also earned during his time in Green Bay, for his work in the community, particularly with Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA. CASA is a volunteer-based nonprofit organization that provides a voice for abused and neglected children who are under the legal protection of the court system through no fault of their own. Both Lindsley and his wife Anna served as CASA advocates while in Green Bay and Los Angeles, ensuring children and families have equitable access to the resources and support they need to thrive. He earned Pro Bowl recognition and second-team All-Pro honors from the Associated Press in his first season with the Chargers. He led the line that year to protect quarterback Justin Herbert to his first Pro Bowl selection, along with setting single-season franchise records in completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. Due to a heart-related issue, Corey retired from the NFL after 10 amazing seasons. He currently resides in Corona Del Mar, California with his wife Anna and has 4 children, Seamus, Killian, Quinn, and Ruth. Corey epitomizes everything great about Boardman: hard work, toughness, intelligence, character, and grit. Please join me in welcoming our 2024 Yes Fest speaker, Corey Lindsley.
Thanks again to Mr. Sheehan for that nice introduction. I want to start off, again, by telling you guys that the 2 main reasons why I'm up here, because I played football at Boardman and because I played in the NFL. And that is cool. And I don't want to discount that, you know, it was a cool accomplishment and I'm proud of it. But all across the country, there are Boardman High School graduates that are doing really cool and amazing work. And to name a few, one of my closest friends, Ryan Marina, he and I graduated together. He went to Michigan for his undergrad. He got his doctorate at University of California in San Diego, and now he's doing his postdoc work at Harvard. And he's killing it. He's doing a great job, BHS grad. two guys, one guy that I still talk to, his name's Greg Knight. He went to 2 Ivy League schools. He got his law degree from Columbia, and now he's working as a lawyer in Connecticut, doing some amazing stuff. A guy that I haven't talked to in a very long time, I don't keep in touch with, but he came up in conversation the other day. His name was Mike Fontaine. I heard he's working at Google, and he went to MIT for his undergrad. And that's amazing, right? And a girl that I knew that was a year younger than me, Christy Lake, her sister Kelly Lake, I just saw her post about this. She's working in the movie industry in Hollywood, and she was an associate producer on the Super Mario Brothers movie, and which is unbelievable. And even some of the less prominent work, but notable, like Mike Popio and Ryan Holmes, who I played with, they were a year older than me. They were senior leaders on the football team. They're coaching. Mike's coaching here. Ryan's coaching in Columbiana. And they're making an impact in the community that you guys live in, the Columbiana community, doing, again, notable, important work right here at home. I think I see Mrs. Bresnahan as well. Her daughter's amazing. Was a nurse. Now she's staying home with the kids. Again, one of my close friends, Kelsey. The reason I'm saying this is, I played in the NFL, it's cool. But there are a lot of Boardman High School graduates all across the United States doing some really cool work and doing some really cool things. And you may not go to the NFL. I hope you do. I hope everybody goes to the NFL. It'd be awesome. But if you don't, there are again, the possibilities are real here at Boardman. There are, again, BHS grads all over the world doing some really cool things, and it is 100% possible for you to do that as well, all right? And Mr. Sheehan sent me a text a couple weeks ago detailing out what Yes Fest was about. We didn't have Yes Fest when I was in high school. I love it. I love the positive message. Having 4 kids of my own, I feel like I'm telling my kids no like 90% of the day, and I love the opportunity to talk positively about things that you should do, things that are good lessons in life instead of just trying to deter you from, constant negative talk. And one of his themes that I thought, at least spoke to me in the text message was, what would I tell myself if I was in high school? What lessons would I wish I would have learned earlier in life? And I came up with 3 lessons that I've learned throughout the course of my lifetime that I ended up learning quickly, thankfully. But if I didn't learn, I feel like it would have been very detrimental to my career and to my personal life. And I felt like they benefited me, again, in all areas of my life. And I'm going to teach these lessons one day to my kids. Hopefully they will learn so they don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. And so I'm going to share them with you today. So the first lesson that I've learned is to always say yes to learning. Always continue your education in some way, shape, or form, all right? And I'll give you 2 examples of how that impacted my life, okay? When I was in the NFL as a first-year player, the guy who was the starter got hurt before the season started, and I became the starter prior to the first game of the year. And I played well enough to earn my starting job, and I became a starter in the NFL. I had a very successful rookie season, and it was a great year. And I came off that year. I didn't actually say this to myself, but my attitude was, I'm an NFL starter. What I'm doing is correct. I've gotten to this point. I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm good. And that is the wrong mentality. It did not benefit me in any way, shape, or form. Over the next 2 years, I played well, at the start of my second year, but I started to trail off in my second year, and then I got hurt, and then I lost my starting job in my third year because I got hurt again. And in my third year, one of the strength coaches for the Packers pulled me aside. He was an enormous influence in my life, huge mentor. His name was Mark Lavatt, and he was like, you got to reframe the way that you're training. You have to reframe your mindset on how you approach training. You can't keep thinking that what you're doing now is going to work forever, because you may not feel like it, but you're being complacent. You're not learning, you're not progressing, and you're not developing in the way that you should be. And after my third year, luckily, for me. The guy got hurt again. I came back in, and I became a starter for the rest of my career. But it was really, the reason why I had that success was I changed the way that I was thinking. Unbeknownst to me, I had stopped learning. I didn't analyze my play like I should have. I didn't think about my weaknesses. I thought I was good. Instead of thinking, hey, how can I get better? You're either progressing or you're falling behind. Because the people that stay the same, quote unquote, there are other people passing them up. And then you end up falling behind. Always learn, okay? In your life, you can never stop learning. The second reason, off the field, or the second story I have is just a few weeks ago, I was, not to bore you with the details, I was presented with this business opportunity. And the guy that sold it to me, he was passionate, man. He was all about it. He worked in this industry. It was the best thing since sliced bread. I was an idiot if I didn't do this. And I went home, I came home at like 9 o'clock at night, and my wife and my mother-in-law are sitting there, and I was like, we gotta reframe everything we're doing. Like, I can't believe we haven't done this before, look at this. And they're like looking at me like I'm crazy, because I was. And I was like, I'm not coming to bed right away, I gotta research this. So for 2 weeks, I sat there on my iPad, talking to people, making phone calls, researching this business opportunity. And I found out that if I would have taken this opportunity, it would have been the worst financial mistake that I've made in my life by far. It was very dumb. It's not like it's a dumb idea in general. It was dumb for me. And if I would not have taken that opportunity and learned from the lessons earlier on in my life to keep learning and research everything, you got to vet everything that you hear. Quick side note, if anybody comes up to you and approaches you like that says that this is the answer and that you're an idiot if you don't do this, immediately question what they say and start looking up what they're actually talking about, because they're probably full of crap. And that guy was, not necessarily full of crap, but the business opportunity wasn't for me. If I would have stopped learning and said, I'm good, I know what I'm doing, I played 10 years in the NFL, I've made my money, I'm good, I don't need to, I know what I'm talking about. If I would have thought that way, I would have made an enormous mistake. It benefits you in all areas of your life, whether it's your career, your personal life, your relationship, your family relationships. It always benefits you to keep learning. Never think that you have it figured out. Always want to keep educating yourself, and it will ultimately play to your advantage. The second lesson that I'm going to teach my kids someday is there was a story, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but Urban Meyer, so my career at Ohio State kind of started off like this. My first 3 years at Ohio State, I was a complete idiot and partied way too much, goofed off, didn't take anything seriously, and made a ton of mistakes in both my football life, my school life, my personal life. Bad couple years there. And because I was just kind of having fun. I wasn't necessarily being like a bad person, but I was just having fun and wasn't taking anything seriously. And after my third year, I kind of put myself in a position where I either had to change what I was doing or stop playing football, because what I was doing was just going to lead me to where I had to drop out of college and stop playing football, and I don't know where I would be. So Urban Meyer came in, and I was like, hey, new coach, new opportunity. I'm going to give this a shot. Let's see what happens. And Urban came in, and he found out that 90% of the team was doing exactly what I was doing, not taking football serious enough, partying, goofing off, yada, yada. And he came in and gave us a speech, and I won't go through it verbatim because it is laden with expletives, and he was yelling at us forcefully, and it was tough to listen to. But the theme of his talk overall was, what are you going to tell your kids someday? What are you going to tell your kids someday when you tell them you're an Ohio State football player? Are you going to be proud of being an Ohio State football player, or are you going to kind of be embarrassed at the way you handled yourself in college? Because you're not a kid anymore. In college, you're 18, 19, 20, 21. You're an adult. Especially, you can vote, you can drive, You're 21, you can drink. You got to start acting like a man. You got to start acting like an adult. And that forever changed my life. I started thinking from the mindset, I'm not living for myself, I'm also living for others. And that's the lesson I'm going to tell my kids someday. You can't just live for yourself. You don't always have to listen to what other people think, and you don't always have to listen to, care about what other people think. But you can't just be concerned with what you think. You have to live for yourself and for others. I started thinking to myself, what am I going to tell my kids someday? Am I going to be able to look at my kids are going to see Ohio State on the TV. They're going to see, helmets that I have and memorabilia. They're going to say, what did you do? How was Ohio State? They're going to ask those questions. Am I going to be proud of the work that I did at Ohio State, or am I going to be embarrassed? And at that point in my life, I was going to be completely embarrassed of the way that I handled myself as a player, as a friend, as a brother, as a son. I said to myself, I had to start changing. I had to start taking those things into consideration and be prideful of the work that I was putting in. And thankfully I did. I started from my last 2 years at Ohio State, and that enabled me to get drafted in the NFL. So first 2 lessons, keep learning, always learn, always find new things to learn about, new books, new magazines, articles, whatever it is. Research everything that you come in contact with. Second lesson, live for yourself and others. And the third thing is when I was in middle school, I want to say this, I was not no one ever thought that I was going to be an NFL football player. I didn't come out of the womb and they were like, that kid's going to the NFL. And it was a long journey, and I developed late into high school. And when I was in 7th and 8th grade, when I went here, there were 2 different middle schools. There was Center and Glenwood. I went to Center. And I played on the 7th and 8th grade football team at Center, and I was the worst football player, pound for pound, maybe in America. I was very bad. And I would routinely get knocked on my butt at practice by kids much smaller than I was, and it was miserable. I used to pray every day. My mom would drive me to practice. I can remember the routes, the route that we would take. I can remember the feeling, the weather, the environment. I can remember the smell. I can remember everything, and thinking, I hate every second of this, and I can't wait for it to end. And after my 8th grade season was over, I was like, thank God I don't ever have to play football again. And our high school coach at the time, his name was DJ Ogilvy, he came to give a speech to prospective freshman football players at Center Middle School. And I don't know why I went. I think I just went because my friends were going. And I don't even remember exactly what he said. The theme of his message was, we're going to become better football players by being stronger in the weight room and working hard. But I remember leaving that meeting and thinking, I couldn't verbalize this because I was too young, but I remember leaving that meeting feeling, that guy's really passionate about football, and he's really passionate about developing us as players and people. And that inspired me. It a light bulb went off in my head. I was suddenly filled with this sensation that I had never felt before, and it was somebody infected me with their passion. It was evident that he loved what he did, and he wanted to help me out. As he wanted to help me and every other football player out become the best that they could be, as long as we were willing to buy in. The third lesson I'm going to teach my kids is, find something you're passionate about and find passionate people and follow them. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, okay? I've been really fortunate to have come in contact with a lot of amazing people. I've played with Hall of Famers, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Clay Matthews. I've played with, I've met billionaires out in California. I've met, my son was in the NICU, and the doctor, the neonatologist who was on call that last week that he was in there, she just got her portrait dedicated at Harvard. She's one of the most brilliant people in the world. And they all share this same theme of they're all really, really passionate about what they do, okay? And you don't have to be a billionaire or a doctor to be passionate about what you do. You can be passionate about anything in your life. You don't even have to be necessarily good at what you're passionate about. Case in point, my son, one of his friends at school, the dad loves music. He's big into music. You go to his house, he's got records and posters and all this stuff all over his walls. He can't play an instrument, but he's the tour manager for Shawn Mendes, and that's what he does for a living. He found an avenue. He loves music. He's passionate about music. He said, I'm not good at music, but how do I work in the music sector without being a musician? He's a tour manager, and he does a phenomenal job of it. Obviously, he's a tour manager for a high-profile singer. My point in saying that is, you can be whatever you're passionate about. If you're passionate about, if you love cartoons or gaming or whatever, you can become a graphic designer. You can code and work in that industry without having to be an esports athlete. It's not one for one. You don't always have to be good at the thing that you're passionate about. There are ways to be involved in the thing that you're passionate about without actually doing it, okay? So, and it makes life so much easier. You will better the people around you. You will better yourself, your family. Find whatever it is that you're passionate about, and don't be closed-minded about it. There are things that 3 years from now, you guys are young, man. You guys are real young. 3, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there might be something that you come across where you're like, I love this. I really enjoy doing this. I'm going to find a way to do this either as a hobby or a career. Be open about it, okay? The third lesson, find something that you're passionate about and pursue it. Those 3 lessons, learning, living for yourself and others, and finding something you're passionate about and pursuing, are the 3 things that I'm going to tell my kids one day. And I hope that they listen. I hope that they benefit from it before having to make the same mistakes that I did. And I hope that some of you in here listen to that message as well and learn from it and use those lessons in your own life and throughout your middle school and high school careers. And I appreciate you guys listening. You guys are phenomenal, very attentive and not talking at all, which is great. Thank you. And hats off to you guys. And I appreciate all of that, and go Spartans.
All right, thank you everyone from Glenwood for coming over. I appreciate your cooperation, your attentiveness. You guys were a great audience. I know you guys have to get back, so I appreciate you guys visiting us here at the high school. Look forward to having you guys in a year or 2. Take care, be safe. Go Spartans!
All right, Glenwood, as you are exiting, we're going to have you go out the back doors and then to the left so you don't have to come up the steps. So out the back doors and to the left, and we will see you back at Glenwood.